in the show, we were talking playoffs or playa. Now we're going to take a look at the teams in the NFC East and figure out how each of them are going to end this season. Maybe on a good note, maybe on a bad note, maybe just on a terrible note. Taking a look at the odds, look, the Eagles are very heavy favorites, as they should be, sitting at 7-2, minus 5,000 to go ahead and win the division. Congrats, Eagles, you've already won it, unless something goes very, very wrong. So let's start off with the Eagles here. 7-2 record so far. When we begin the season, their win total was set at 11.5. Pete, when you look at the rest of the schedule, how did the Eagles fare the rest of the season?
They're getting it right, and the defense is really starting to get it right. I still think they need to work on the offense a little bit, but when I look at the schedule, you see what I have here. I got them winning all but one game at the Bills. That's it. That's the only game I have them losing. They're going to end up 14-3. They're going to end up with the number one seed probably, because I think the teams out west are going to beat each other up a little bit. And so I think they're going to end up hosting again with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. They're a really good team. I don't think they're quite there yet on offense, but they will get there.
I mean, I think we talked about this last year. Like, it's been, almost 10 years since the team repeated as NFC East champs. And to your point, unless something drastically goes wrong with the Eagles, it looks like they're going to buck that trend. And Pete, you also mentioned it, the offense, we haven't seen the best of it yet. It's kind of been Jekyll and Hyde. One game the passing offense is working, one game the rushing offense is working. And now A.J. Brown is coming out again on streams and saying he's upset about his participation in the offense. But the biggest thing for me, their defense struggled in the beginning of the year. It's starting to come around. Pete, we always talked about how Howie Roseman, with his young draft picks, he always gives them kind of a redshirt year. And we talked about how they lost a few people, like Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. The defensive line wasn't playing as well. We know why that was? They didn't have the depth. Now they have the depth. Now you see Jalen Hunt start making some plays. You trade for Jalen Phillips, and you see the impact he made in the game. You bring back the wily vet, Brandon Graham, and also Nolan Smith comes back healthy. Moro Ojamo makes a big-time play, calling it out on 4th and 1, the inside zone play, and they stop the Packers to essentially win that game. And then Jalen Carter's just almost impossible to block one-on-one. So I think that's been the biggest thing. When you look at this defense, there has been some woes when you talk about that third corner and them consistently getting to the quarterback. They finally have that depth, and that will help the secondary as well, because if the quarterback can't hold the football, he has to speed up his clock. The ball has to come out.
Pete, when you look at the offense, so are you concerned when it comes to one play calling into the offensive line, because they just cannot stay healthy?
I think they're one of those teams that they don't really know what they want to do this year. They've always known what they wanted to do with Barkley in the lineup, but he's in the lineup and they're still not giving him the football or taking shots down the field. If I were A.J. Brown, I'd be upset too.
Yeah.
I want the ball. Get A.J. Brown the ball down the field. I think this is a real pattern in the NFL right now of teams being so scared to throw the damn ball down the field. And when you look at the Eagles, they look like they're one of those teams that don't necessarily want to throw the ball down the field. If I were A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, I want the ball.
That's how they got their one touchdown during that last game.
Deep throw down the middle of the field.
And the interesting thing, this is a business. People will say, you're 72, you shouldn't be complaining. Well, the way A.J. Brown gets paid is to catch the football. Pete, you've been in this business. If things continue to trend in this direction, you don't think the Eagles next year are going to come to him and be like, hey, you're making this amount of money, but look at your stats. They're going to ask him to take a pay cut, and it's not going to be his fault because he's not getting the ball. To your point, anytime you're a competitor, you want to be a part of the offense. You want to be the solution of why the offense turns around. And it seems like he essentially has to lose it on the sideline, and then the next week they'll come out and they'll feature him. Why don't you feature him every week? He should be getting 8 targets minimum a game.
Yep. By the way, every wide receiver in the league would rather have 9 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns and lose than have 2 and 22 and win.
Okay.
I guarantee you.
That's how they get paid.
I understand. Let's go to the Cowboys. They're sitting at 3-5-1 right now. They're coming off the loss to the Cardinals. They had a bye week. They made some trades. They now have Quentin Williams. They did go through a tragedy as a team. It is going to be very interesting to see how this team comes back this week. Pete, where do you stand with the Cowboys in the rest of the season?
And they're getting guys back. Overshawn's coming back. The linebacker was a really good player. Now he's coming off a major injury, so we'll see how he is. Ravel, the corner, is going to
hopefully Diggs comes back too.
So you're getting guys back, but I just don't see them with this schedule making a run. I mean, when I look at it, I think they're going to lose to the Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions all in a row, and that ends their season right there and sends them on vacation. I don't think they're good enough. But I do like the stuff that they're doing to get Quinnen Williams and bring those young players back. You know, Ravel's going to be a starting quarterback for that corner for them, and Overshawn's a good player. So get them ready for next year.
I think they make a mini run.
Okay.
Right? I have them going 9-7-1 because I just did the history upstairs, and when Dak's actually been healthy, he usually always splits with the Eagles. So I don't see that changing this year. And we talked about how the offense has struggled like the defense has. I think they get back going the right direction on offense. That bye, I think, came at the perfect time for them. You talked about the tragedy. I think that galvanizes this team and keeps them together. Their pass rush is actually starting to come alive a little bit, too, with some of the guys that they brought in. You saw Jadeveon Clowney right there. You see Sam Williams with the block punt right there. And Pete talked about it. In the secondary, they're getting guys back healthier. I think this team can make a run in the back half. I don't know if 9-7-1 gets them in. I think it's a little bit too late. If they had beat the Cardinals, they might have had an outside chance to sneak in at the 7th spot.
What about the Commanders? I mean, is this a team that could also not necessarily make a run, but just end on a better note? I mean, Jaden Daniels, Pete is just shaking his head. I'm not even. I mean, there's like, I don't know, win a couple games and Jaden Daniels, you know, escaped a horrific arm injury.
Can Jaden Daniels play defensive end,
safety,
linebacker, and safety?
No.
The answer to that question, no. They are awful on defense.
Yeah.
I mean, awful. What I said yesterday, I was talking about them all day. I said anybody who played them plays against air. Yeah. And that, you know how that is when you're on practice. You play against air.
Like 7-on-7.
Everything looks great. Yeah. There's nobody there. You're no defense. That's what you get when you play the Commanders. They're terrible on defense. So even if he's there, they're not going to win games. And I see them losing every game. Except for the Giants, and they might lose that game too.
If Jameis is playing, they might lose.
They could lose every one of those games going forward, and it's amazing to go from what they were, which kind of tells you that last year was kind of a little bit of a fluke.
It was all Jaden. Well, that shows you how important Jaden Daniels is.
Yeah, but even if he's healthy this year, this team isn't winning games
because the defense is so bad. Which is crazy because they made improvements in the secondary, and they were going to be more of a blitz-heavy team because they don't have the subsequent pass rushers to get after the quarterback, and they were going to rely on their corners, but their corners have really struggled on the outside, and now their corners are banged up too, so now the guy behind them is playing. So you're talking about playing backups in the secondary. You can't get to the quarterback. Deron Payne gets suspended for a game.
Bobby Wagner's old.
I actually have them beating the Dolphins this week just because I think it's going to be 50 degrees, and I don't know if the Dolphins can handle that.
They got to practice in 50 degrees yesterday, I guess. I think they're
going to win 2 more games this year. And I have a question for you.
So you got to win them one more than I do.
Yeah, I don't think they're making a run.
We both think they stink.
Yeah. My thing is, if they do lose the next 2, do you bring Jaden Daniels back?
All right, that's what I was going to ask.
I would not. I would not.
To me, and it's kind of like the Joe Burrow conversation, right? People are like hyping this up. We thought week 13 was be the time he would come back. Now all of a sudden he's practicing. If the Bengals lose the next 2 games, like, why are you bringing Joe Burrow back?
The only thing is, if you're a player,
you're competitive.
I
get it. Yeah, I get that.
And if you're healthy enough to play, you play. Yeah. So I get it.
Their win total at the beginning of the season.
But you need to be healthy, like not 70 or 80%, like 100% healthy.
Well, nobody's 100%, but
yeah.
So
but I'm talking about if you're coming off an injury like these 2 guys, they need to be close to 100%. If you're going to put them back out there.
I was going to say Vegas and all of us were fooled by last season because their win total at the beginning of the season was set at 9.5.
I had them going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you did?
I did. Them and the Ravens.
Oh,
okay, well, just wish for that now.
I wouldn't say that loud.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to keep it real.
This is true. Let's go to the Giants. And this is
Look at that graphic.
Okay, wait, let me see. Both of you going with 2 and they don't win another single game.
But the crazy thing is, with Jameis, you just never know.
You're not even going to get like a little bit of a oomph, like no more Brian Daboll.
They could beat the Raiders,
they could beat and they could maybe beat the Commanders. I mean, they might win a game or 2, but I just don't.
That's a hard
What if they beat the
schedule.
Packers this week?
Then the Packers better pack their gear and go home. They better get their play.
Packers are going to play out.
But Jameis, one thing Jameis is not going to be afraid to do is throw the ball downfield. So it'll be interesting. But I think the Packers do take care of it. It's interesting when you watch the Giants because they spent all this money on the defensive line.
And don't get any real pressure.
They spent money on the secondary. And the defense has been the reason why they've had so many 4th-quarter leads that they lost. Like, as a defense, the pride has to be, we're going to close this out. They have yet to close it. You go back to that Denver game, if I'm not mistaken, what was it, 33 points they gave up in the 4th quarter, Pete? Like, you can't do that and say you're a top defense in the league. And Jackson Dart has given him a spark. Now he needs to learn how to slide, right? Because you are the face of the franchise. To show how important you are, the time you went down in the game versus the Eagles, the coach got fined because he went to the blue tent just to make sure you was all right to come back in.
That was my question. Where do we stand on Jackson Dart? Because, I mean, look, we're about halfway through the season, a little bit more. And whether it's the play calling or if it's him needing to slide, he's been looked at a concussion for 4 times now. He's out with a concussion now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Welcome, Cowboys Nation, and welcome to Cowboys Nation Report, where we don't just watch the games, we feel them, we analyze them, we live them. I'm telling you right now, if you're wearing the star on your helmet, if you bleed silver and blue, if you believe in the turnaround, this episode matters. Because today we're going to talk about one of the most important decisions the Dallas Cowboys can make this season. One that could tip the scales. One that could say, we're done waiting. We're ready now. Let's rewind a little and set the stage. The Cowboys have made some bold moves. They've traded for interior disruptor Quinnen Williams and linebacker Logan Wilson. They've bolstered the front seven. They've injected youth and power. But behind all the highlights and the big names, there remains a glaring weakness. The safety position. The back end of the defense has been exposed, and that matters when you're trying to build a winner. Now, fresh reports are naming Justin Simmons, a 2-time Pro Bowler, multiple All-Pro candidate, veteran with playoff experience, as a possible landing spot for the Cowboys. And so the question becomes, why would Dallas target Simmons? Why now? What does it signal? And more importantly, what could it deliver? First, why Simmons? Well, he brings a profile you simply cannot ignore. He was one of the best safeties in the league at his peak. His ball hawking, his coverage skills, his ability to stop the run, all elite. His recent season numbers may have dipped, yes, but the fact remains this. For a team that has struggled at safety and in the back end of the defense, signing a veteran like Simmons isn't about perfection. It's about upgrading the base, stabilizing the room, and closing the gap between potential and performance. Second, why Dallas? This team is in need now mode. They are 3-5-1 with games slipping, with holes showing, with questions mounting. The offense is dangerous, yes, but when your defense gives up big plays or can't stop the run, you're swimming upstream every week. If Dallas wants to stop fighting backwards and start dictating games, they have to fix the safety room, and Simmons would bring the experience, the presence, the immediate impact. Third, what does it signal? It says front office belief. It says leadership. It says we're not playing for next year, we're playing for now. When you target a veteran like Simmons, you're saying you believe this team can win. You believe this group can salvage and rally. You believe the foundation is set, and now you add key pieces. Now imagine this scenario. The Cowboys line up. On one side, Quinnen Williams inside, collapsing the pocket. Logan Wilson flying to the second level. Outside, younger standouts developing. And then in the back end, Simmons, calling coverages, reading quarterbacks, closing lanes, recovering space, putting out fires. Opponents know, you can't just beat our rush. You still might not beat our deep game. That kind of fear matters. That kind of respect changes drives. That kind of upgrade makes winning easier. And let me tell you, the window is still open for Dallas. It may not be as wide as past years, but it's open. You add Simmons, you add leadership, you add depth, you add feeling, you add confidence. And confidence in this league is close to currency. When a team believes they can win before they even step on the field, that's half the battle. Now, I'm not naive. I know there are caveats. Simmons is 31. His best years may be slightly behind. He'll cost money. He'll demand a role. The Cowboys will need to figure out snaps, alignments, chemistry. But when the alternative is staying status quo at a key position, why not push? Dallas has nothing to lose by making the move. And if Simmons replicates even 80% of what he once was, this safety room goes from liability to asset. So here's what I want you to take away. The Dallas Cowboys are positioning. They're signaling. They're showing they understand the gravity of the situation. Signing Justin Simmons would not just fill a gap, it would elevate a defense. It would elevate a team. It would elevate us, the fans. In conclusion, I believe the Cowboys will make the move. They should. They must. And if they do it, I believe they will rise. Because when leadership meets urgency, when talent meets need, when belief meets execution, the Cowboys don't just compete, they dominate. Now it's your turn. Do you believe the Cowboys will land Justin Simmons and flip their season? What's the one zone you want to see improve? Coverage, run support, turnovers? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you believe in the star. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Cowboys Nation Report for every deep dive, every rumor, every winning moment. We ride together, we believe together, and we win together. Go Cowboys!